Cui bono. It's a fancy Latin term for who benefits. One of the most important things in a crime is motive. Motive is crucial to establishing mens rea, the guilty mind, another fancy Latin term. My feed has been dominated by Charlie Kirk stuff, and I just want to be clear that I did not watch Charlie Kirk. I saw a few clips of his debates. He seemed like a reasonably good debater, and it seemed like he had solid grounding for most of the positions that he held. I don't think he had solid grounding when he was trying to defend the genocide in Gaza. But, for a lot of the stuff that he had, it seemed like he had like reasonably good grounding in his arguments. I just thought the whole trope of, it started with like Ben Shapiro going to colleges and debating college. They're kids. I mean, maybe I'm just old, but they're kids, and they don't know their ass from their elbow. They just parrot back what their professors told them or what their friends told them, and they didn't really understand any of the grounding of why they should believe what they believe. And I just didn't feel like I gained anything from watching those kinds of debates, so I didn't follow him. So I mean, I hear a lot of people saying he was a good person from the middle and the right, and I know that a lot of people on the left think he was Hitler incarnate, because obviously a guy having debates on college campuses is somehow equatable to a guy who allegedly did a Holocaust. So I'm going to be called anti-Semitic for that. Whatever. Whatever. But I've been listening to a lot of commentary and a lot of analysis of this whole narrative surrounding the alleged shooter. And I'm going to say that he is almost certainly going to kill himself while in jail. I mean, why wouldn't he? It's interesting that the guy who allegedly shot JFK was killed. The guy who allegedly killed the guy who killed JFK was killed. I think we can actually be pretty sure that, what was the name, Jack Ruby or something like that? Definitely killed him. I mean, it was on camera. But I don't think we ever figured out really the whole cui bono of that. Nothing made sense. I mean, I don't even know if they've released everything yet. I doubt they do. I don't trust the government. I doubt they did. But cui bono, who benefited? Who or what nation benefited from JFK being assassinated with the whole insistence on nuclear non-proliferation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Who benefited? Epstein. We're never gonna find out now, because in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, the legislature voted to block the release of the Epstein files. And then you have our eminently qualified Kash Patel testifying before Congress that apparently Epstein was trafficking people to Epstein. There's no credible evidence that he ever trafficked people to anybody else. Amazing. Fucking amazing. I guess either Patel's retarded or I'm retarded, but that doesn't make any sense. We're never going to get justice for that. We're never going to get justice for JFK. we're never going to get justice for Charlie Kirk. That's going to be, that Ukrainian last name gal murdered on the bus. We're never going to get justice for that. And I believe the dude already was put into a mental health center, and which he's been in before. I mean, my best understanding is that every other time he's committed a crime, he got mental health diversion. So he's in that because the judge doesn't think he's competent to stand trial. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't really know. But we're never going to get justice for that. We're never going to get justice for Charlie Kirk. We've got this story that just makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. About this kid who was in a relationship with allegedly in a relationship with a alleged transsexual, and who allegedly was in a Discord for alleged transsexuals and alleged Antifa, who allegedly admitted to it on Discord, but Discord says no, who allegedly admitted to it on Blue Sky, and Blue Sky says no, who allegedly admitted it to his dad, who's apparently going to get like $1.2 million from one of Charlie Kirk's funders, who allegedly Charlie Kirk had a falling out with, but now is saying he didn't do it. Nothing makes sense. Nothing matches up. They had a drone. There was a drone over the Charlie Kirk event, but no one saw the alleged shooter. Crazy. He had world-class security who didn't secure him. They've ripped up the spot, all the grass and stuff, to put down pavers where the assassination happened, which makes perfect sense if there's an ongoing investigation to find out who the murderer is, to rip up all the physical evidence. Makes sense. I'm buying it. Nothing makes sense. We're never going to get justice for it. The government is never going to tell you who did it, why they did it. They're going to try to blame it on this kid who allegedly did it. And I'm not saying he did it or didn't do it, but cui bono, who benefits? That kid doesn't benefit. Dad benefits. The funny little nation in the Middle East benefits. It's crazy, little Ben Shapiro. My parents loved Ben Shapiro. They loved him. I don't know if my mom still watches him. My parents loved Ben Shapiro. And whenever I'd visit them, they'd have Ben Shapiro on. And I remember I was sitting there on their sofa, chatting with them, kind of listening in the background. And I remember Ben Shapiro making the statement about trade deficits. And, no, trade deficits are good. Offshoring stuff is good because, China gets, maybe $100 for an iPad, but we get the iPad. And I was like, that was the stupidest thing ever, because China takes that money and they invest it in their infrastructure. Whatever you want to say about China, they've become the world's powerhouse industrial economy. No one compares to them. And they've done that by investing all the money that the U.S. and other nations have given them with these trade deficits so that they can churn out iPads for pennies on the dollar. And we end up with an iPad that's going to end up in a landfill in a couple of years. And they end up with another factory that can produce more things, that can generate them more money, that employs their citizens, blah, 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 blah. And I thought that was the stupidest, most low IQ take ever. And I lost all respect for him, and I don't watch him anymore. But my best understanding is that he's a paid shill. Because none of the things that he says make sense. And a guy as smart as Ben Shapiro knows that they don't make sense. So why would he say it? Who benefits? Cui bono? So anyway, the government is going to use this, as they always do, to pit the left versus the right, because there's still people who believe in that bullshit. There's still people who think that the Republicans are, amazing, and you got to vote. You got to vote Republican, or else those libtards will get into office. And so got Pam Bondi out there who's saying, oh, there's a difference between hate speech and free speech. Well, guess what, magatards? The Republicans aren't going to be in power forever, and are they even doing anything good right now? I remember that dumb fuck Peter Coventry. God, that guy's stupid as dog shit. He's like, well, if you just vote to elect a candidate who's going to give you what you want, then you'll get what you want. Yeah, well, people voted for Trump to release the Epstein files. I mean, that was a major campaign platform for him this last time around. That was a major campaign platform. And what'd you do? Crazy. You voted for the guy who said he'd give you what you wanted, and what'd you get? Nothing. Because the government hates you and wants you dead. The government hated Charlie Kirk and wanted him dead. The government hated, what's that gal's name? And Anya Zalun's, whatever, the Ukrainian gal. Hated her and wanted her dead. If they didn't want her dead, why don't they put that dude away forever? If they really wanted her dead, if they didn't want her dead, that dude would be in prison for the rest of his life or getting the death penalty. One of the two. One of the two. Key bono. In addition to the previous executive order where Trump ordered that people who spoke out against the genocide in Gaza, who are here on visas or undergoing the process for citizenship, they'd have everything revoked. In addition to that, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, now we have who's the Secretary of State? Rubio. Rubio now gets to revoke the passports of people who are critical of Israel. It's really crazy. It's just really crazy, key bono, that you can't criticize a foreign nation in the U.S., but you can criticize the U.S. government. Key bono. Key bono. Who is benefiting from the death of Charlie Kirk? Key bono. Well, Ben Shapiro was all set to take over Turning Point USA, an ostensibly Christian organization. Think about that for a minute. A Jew, a practicing Jew, not just ethnically Jewish, but religiously Jewish, a Jew was going to take over Turning Point USA. I don't know if he's still going to do it. I don't know the status of that, if he can, if other forces are interfering with that. But pause to consider, if you will, key bono. I don't know what forces are actively, I don't know if that kid pulled the trigger. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Don't know. Don't really care. What's important to me is why he pulled the trigger. And the narrative doesn't make any sense. And the timeline doesn't make any sense. And the alleged Discord messages that Discord says didn't happen doesn't make any sense. And the alleged Blue Sky communications that Blue Sky say didn't happen doesn't make any sense. Where'd the rifle go when he jumped off the roof? Allegedly, he had it in his pants when he went up to the roof. But when he jumped off the roof, he didn't have it in his pants. Where'd the rifle go? How'd the rifle end up where it ended up? How did his father recognize that rifle? It didn't look particularly distinct to me. It didn't look particularly noteworthy. I've got a 30-06 at home that has a stock that is engraved. I think it's a beautiful gun. I bought it because it was a beautiful gun, because of the woodworking done in the stock and in the foregrip. And that's a distinctive gun. That was custom work. Somebody who liked woodworking spent time to make a custom stock for that gun. And this was just like a run-of-the-mill 30-06. Like, nothing special. Nothing makes sense. But cui bono? So anyway, the message of this is kid's going to kill himself. I'd be shocked if he didn't. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but kid's going to kill himself. Just like every other time. Every other time. We're never going to find out who really did it. We're never going to get adequate answers from the government about who did it and why they did it. It's never going to make sense. This is going to be one of those conspiracy theories that drags out for the next 100 plus years. We'll never know. The government, with the requirement that all of the official communications and official documents not be destroyed, has already destroyed a shit ton of the Epstein stuff. They already have. You know they have. They're never going to release it. What they have has been destroyed. Government hates you and wants you dead. And cui bono? Cui bono! Who benefits? Anyway, I've dragged this out long enough. Sorry for not my usual content. I mean, this is what the information I am being fed is, rattling around in the old dome, the old activated almonds. And, it's crazy the number of non-political channels. So I watch political channels from the far left to the far right. I as long as the person running the channel is an honest actor, as long as they have a system of belief that is not hypocritical, that is, that's where they don't follow the trends, where they no, this is my system of belief and I'm sticking to it, I'll watch their content. I'll watch their content and I'll take them as good faith actors until they do something hypocritical, until they do something like all of a sudden they shift from X stance to Y stance for no reason, no discernible reason. But I also watch a lot of non-political channels. I mean, I spend a lot of time, like when I'm doing stuff, with YouTube playing in the background. And it's amazing to me the number of car channels and non-political commentary channels are talking about this issue, number one. And number two, they all seem to be wondering about who benefits. And they all seem to be coming to very similar conclusions. Public opinion is changing, and I'm just wondering, not only my opinions are changing, and I'm just wondering if the forces at play, the government, the multinational corporations, the billionaires, the foreign states, I wonder if they're going to be able to control the assassination of Charlie Kirk to their benefit, or if the American people are going to finally wake up and see that everything that's been done to them for the last 100 plus years has been designed to break down the family, to break down the nation, to break down the community, to break down your trust in the government, to break down everything, to break down your health, your ability to have kids. I wonder if we're going to wake up. I hope we do. I hope we do. And I'm not saying that revolution is the answer, but I am saying that it's been effective in the past. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.